Hey, Bestie. How's it going?
So, today, we have a chance to experience the Vagina Monologues.
We did.
Now, let me say, in my defense, this is my first time ever seeing it.
Okay, well, it doesn't have to be a defense. You don't have to put a disclaimer out there or anything like that. Because, I mean, it was your first time seeing it. And so.
I haven't read it.
Okay. So, what did you get out of it?
I was blown away. And I don't say that lightly because, it takes a lot to kind of.
Because you have high standards.
Oh.
Well, I mean that in the best.
I know it was no offense taken.
Way.
It was no offense taken.
As you should.
Right. And I was able to watch it from that view, from the professional view, but I was also able to watch it from the human view.
Right.
And then I watched it from the woman.
Okay.
With the vagina.
Right.
So,
right. So did you feel like, did you feel like your vagina was a part of you in that moment, or was it separate?
Person. She was
that's what I was gonna
because
say.
I was able to relate to each one of them and their stories. But one thing I did do, and like this was fast, and I was like, I need to remember it when we do talk about it. The older lady that had been the flood, and so she was not getting any.
Right.
I think we should be a little more compassionate to older women.
Okay.
Because they backed up and they ain't getting any, and that's why they angry.
So you think older women don't get none?
She said she didn't get none.
Right.
Not getting none will make you a little bit angry. And if you went all those years like she went, she a lot of angry.
Right. So we should be compassionate towards our older
single, not dating.
Yeah.
Because they probably frustrated.
Okay. But then there was never a real platform for them to talk about this.
That is true.
Because you remember how the girl was asking questions. The pretend girl, the imaginary girl, right, was asking questions, and
to the 6-year-old.
Not to the 6-year-old, no, to the 60-year, or to our senior in the show. She didn't want to reveal anything personal publicly about her vagina, how she felt about it. But the girl just kept asking questions, right? And trying to get that out of her.
So what makes our generation different? Well, we're
gonna talk about it.
We are, and we're gonna talk about it loud and proud and.
Yeah.
We've had parties to celebrate
our vaginas or our sexuality, and to embrace that, like pure romance.
Bedroom candy.
Bedroom
candy party.
Right. So I mean, what makes our generation different? I feel like every generation has like its own identity, trying to have its own identity as a culture, right? Generational as a culture. Now, back when our parents was our age, that they were raised in a different time, and they were taught that it's not ladylike to speak about these things, right? So
I was pregnant with Micaiah.
Okay.
And I would not let the doctor say that I had sex to
get pregnant
in front of my mom. He was talking to me.
Right.
But I was like, I didn't do none of that. I didn't do any of that.
No, we didn't do.
Not gonna say
pregnant at all, but
and the crazy part about it,
right.
The crazy part about it is he understood the cues and he would change what
the conversation, the dynamic, or would change the terminology, right?
And I think he understood that. Her, although we knew the obvious,
right,
but it was like I still respect her, and I still don't want her to think that her little girls out here just busting it open. Well, not everybody. But at the same time, though, that is in their mind, they make it that big of a deal, though. Right.
So, in their minds, they will make it that big of a deal. So, can I tell you something, best friend?
Please.
So I was actually in this show when I was going to school in Chicago.
Okay.
And I came home, and actually I told the cast this too, this show. I came home for Christmas break, and I was home for a whole month. Mind you, I had started rehearsals for Vagina Monologues at my school already, and then we took a break for Christmas break, and then we came back in the start of the semester, picked up rehearsals again, and had the show in February. And I refused to tell both of my parents that I was in this show. I was here for an entire 30 days, friend.
Wait, hold
an
on.
entire month.
How you hold that in?
I held it in. I don't know, by the grace of God. I don't know. I held it in. No, friend, I held it in. I did not say a word. So I got to Chicago. So Christmas break passed. I get to Chicago. And parents are like, how's your roommate situation, everything, you know, the normal conversation that you have, right, with college students. And I just bust out and told them, I said, oh, everything's great. And by the way, I'm in Vagina Monologues. And they said, what? I'm in Vagina Monologues.
But you got
so my mom
parents,
said,
mom.
Well, my dad was always like very liberal, very open-minded. My mom was raised conservatively, not like politically, but like Christian values, like conservative upbringing. And she said what the older lady said in the show, right? In this show that we saw, you don't talk about your down there. So she asked me, she said, you're going to talk about your down there? And I said, no, not me. It's the character. It's the character. Then Dad says, okay, well, God gave it to you. I guess it's okay. You know?
Right, use it for something.
Right, friend. So, but at my big grown age, I was 31. And at 31, it was still a big deal to kind of shield that information, which it shouldn't have been an embarrassment. It should be open, right? Conversation. But it's at 31, me at 31, I still, at my big grown age, like they say in the streets, my big grown age, at 31, friend, I was still not willing to talk about it openly with my parents. And this is a show, right? And they've seen me act in many things over the years.
So how was you being in it all those years ago compared to what you saw?
To watching it. It was actually refreshing.
Really?
Yeah, it was refreshing because they had a smaller cast, and this cast was all black, which was something that was done intentional, and that the advertisements and stuff, that's what they wanted. And it was good.
Executed very
well. Yeah, exactly.
It was.
And in the show at school in Chicago, I mean, it wasn't all black, and it was a myriad of races, but there was a lot of us. So we had over 12 cast members. So there was a lot, and we were picking and choosing in the different monologues and things like that. And so, but you didn't get to see a particular person, more than one time, right? So you didn't get to kind of see the variations and the levels of the acting and the in-depth that they could go to, and to get to play with the audience as much.
And I think that was
this
key. It was
so with this cast, they got to play with us a little bit more and interact with us.
And I want to commend them because I've seen some good acting today, and I've seen some women act in our box office hits and stuff like that. The acting didn't compare to what I seen them. That's big for me because I was stuck on Tubi before I got ready for I had watched a 1.5 movie before I came.
Okay.
And it's a lot of times it takes me longer to get in them, and because when you study film the way I have, when you get out of it, I get all the way out of it. And there's really no catching me. Yeah. And I feel like during this, I was never out of it. Even I was texting and doing other things, I was still participating and still in it. And I felt emotionally drawn to some of the parts where some of them stuck out more. the angry.
Yeah, the angry one is always a big attention getter.
Yes, but guess what got me?
The angry vagina. Which one?
The sterilization.
That part of the angry vagina. It was a different monologue.
It was the circumcision.
Oh, okay. The female
voluntary female
mutilation.
Because that's all they doing is.
Yeah.
Baby, I tell you, when she got there talking about how it hurt, I was squirming in my seat.
Yeah. Because you felt that.
I
you
did.
Felt all of that. Well, you're an empath anyway, so you take that in.
I couldn't even, and I didn't want to bump nobody really too hard, but I was like, it's still on, because as an empath, I have really done research to see like how the girls have tried to adjust to life afterwards, and how a lot of them were thrown away due to it. But you told them they had no choice. Like, it was so many things, and then the scariest part about it is a lot of women have lost their lives.
Right.
It's done
due to like internal bleeding. It's just hemorrhaging, different things. Infections. And that's the one thing I can say too, that I'm really glad that those parts were in the show. Because that's what and that's what the writer of this show, Ensler, that was kind of her whole mission, was to shed light on those kinds of issues that are plaguing women and girls, and we as Americans, we don't really have a concept of that, because we don't experience that as American girls.
Right. So
like, it's not our culture.
So with that, if we don't experience it, a lot of times we're not able to show sympathy. We don't feel
or empathy,
especially because it's like other situations where you're like, well, if it doesn't affect me directly, then it ain't on me.
Right.
So a lot of times we don't take responsibility, or we don't even show compassion. I read a story where 8 people were arrested in the unaliving of a 20-year-old mom.
Wow.
And the 8 people consisted of male and female.
Oh, wow.
And they tortured her and did everything unimaginable to her before they unalived her. 8. And as a woman, I could not stand by and be the reason or even participate in the harm of another. Like, that's to me. But then too, to see the story, they are all animals.
Yeah, and in my mind, when I hear stories like that, and it's like I get into this space in my head where I'm like, how can humanity be this cruel? How can you do something like this to another human being? And so in that way, like, I do become the empath.
Right.
And the thing that theater does is, when you go see a theatrical play or performance, and particularly when it has like these controversial subject matter issues and emerging issues that is going on today, and there's the illumination on that, there's the light shedding on those particular subjects. I get like you, like I always I squinch in my seat, or I feel that because I'm drawn into this universe of what's happening on stage, and that becomes my reality, no matter where I'm,
and that's
what my personal life is like, but that's my reality for that moment.
Theater and film and writing too, we're supposed to evoke emotion.
Right.
And if it doesn't evoke emotion, then somebody has failed, and you're lost, or maybe you didn't connect with it a certain way. And that's okay too, because everything isn't for everybody.
Right.
But there was a lot of, to me, triggering moments. And I am emotional right now, and I'm raw. And so a lot of things that was probably slipping by other people, but because I swear that when one of the actresses was doing the flashbacks,
yes, the memories of childhood and trauma and associated with molestation, rape. Yeah.
And this is a big thing that I wanted to talk about, and I thought it was important for us to get through. The 16-year-old that was groomed
groomed
by the 24-year-old woman.
Right.
A lot of times,
and mind you, this is a 16-year-old girl.
Right.
This is a 16-year-old girl groomed by a 24-year-old woman.
And I just went through this where I'm seeing that more men are coming out saying, when I was a teen, my babysitter, my aunt, my this, that was the one to introduce me first
to sex.
and to and
But your point is interesting. I'm gonna let you make it.
No, go on.
Your
You know
point
what
is
I'm
interesting because when you hear men say that, a lot of times they're talking about the women in their lives grooming them, but you don't often hear them say that another man. And in this situation where what we saw tonight or today, earlier today, it was a young girl being groomed by a woman, an older woman.
And because it was another female,
right,
her mother didn't ask any questions.
No, she didn't.
And she pretty much just handed her
over to her
in the hands of danger. And then she even called and said, "Hey, don't let no boys. And she was like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about it. That's the least of your worries.
There's no boys here."
But she was the main reason to worry.
And I wonder too if it was the time period, because remember that particular monologue was set in the 70s. I wonder if had it been today, like, because you are a mother of 3 girls,
right.
Had it been 2024, would that mother have the same type of trust?
Mothers, yes.
For
some
the
mothers, yes, because we're tired, we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated, and if somebody who you assume is genuine is stepping in to help, then you like, okay, so you have it now.
Yeah. So your guard is down
because it's a
woman,
right?
Okay.
But it doesn't make it any righter.
Right.
It's still wrong.
Yeah.
And I think everything that happened then in the 70s is still happening today.
Right.
But social media is highlighting more. You still see the teachers that's sleeping with the students, and the pastors and the coaches,
all of
that, the law enforcement, and and so it's. But then
it seems like people who have a certain level of authority over.
And it's always somebody
the children
close that trust that they trust. And I think that we as a whole have become so desensitized to all of that that we are posting it online, and then we're all feeling some type of way because we have no problem with putting our feelings in the comments. If we mad, angry, happy, sad, it's running. I'm telling you, I get my life in comments. I was crying so hard the other day, laughing. I mean, like literally tears. But sometimes to see, like the father that was his teen daughter's friends, he was giving them smoothies with Xanaxes and stuff in there. And so it's hard to tell your kids, don't eat nothing over there. Don't, because they invited you in, so you think you can trust them. Right. And we in the comments saying, how we let this happen? How did this happen? How did it come to this? But what I think we're missing, the key thing that we're missing is the daughter said, something ain't right, let me call my mama and tell her to come and get me. And then they said when they got there, some of the parents, he was refusing to give him, sir, you're not finna play with mine in there. Right. Because this ain't finna go down. And we ain't even got to call nobody else. I'm going to handle this one right
on your own. Yeah.
I'm going to give y'all a freebie, and then I'll just meet y'all on down there and take my little charge and go and do my little... Because it is serious at the end of the day. And I think that... I commend her for being able to have the relationship that you have, and I started that with my kids. We did a safe word. I seen a long time ago you have a safe word. Our safe word, I don't even know what it is right now. But because of the relationship that we have, it ain't no safe word. They just be like, hey, come on, yeah. Or and I had enough. Yeah. And so I'm enamored by the relationship that I have, but also by the kids that I raised, and the care that I've instilled into, because I say that there's nothing more important than a mother-daughter relationship, but it has to be a friendship. But then too, you can't really be their friend
until they're older, and it changes. There are stages. Like it changes.
Can you imagine being 3 different people's mom in the same day? Like I didn't realize how exhausting that is. In the same day, 8 o'clock.
Right.
You gotta be 3 different people.
Right.
Because what this one needs, don't on it. I know one morning Cam got up and I don't know what happened, but she was in a bad mood, and she got on the bus stop and I was like, "Have a good day, I love you." And she shut the door and went on around, and I let the window down. I was like, "Hey, have a good day, I love you." And she was like, "I love you too." I was like, "Well, she said it. Like, it wasn't pretty, but she said it. But
she meant it.
But I have to be mindful not to mess up their mornings.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to. This one got to be yelled at, but this one already ready, and that one all the way out of town. And I still got to kind of.
You have to guide, because even when we get in college.
Yes.
You know, we're 18, 19, 20, 21. We get in
around to
college,
see what this one needs, and not spill off onto this one's needs, and then not pour too much in this one. And she's like,
because you have the 3 different age brackets going on.
It doesn't even matter. They would still be 3 different people. but
that's the thing, though, and that's what I find that's what I've always found fascinating about, like, with siblings, because hello world, I'm an only child. So I don't have the sibling reference, but when my friends who have siblings, and I've seen this, like the children are raised by, mom or dad or both, basically raised in the same household, but they have different personalities.
They're different people.
They are different. They are their own individual people.
And I was raised
and
in
you
a
have
house
to
full of
deal
boys.
with that, and see the way that you raise boys are different than the way you raise girls.
I love my son more than I love him. I miss him too.
She doesn't mean that, Cam and Carrington and Kyan.
They already know the truth. He even know the truth. What is something that you wish that everybody could take away from what you experienced today?
I wish everybody could take away the freedom to embrace your sexuality, the freedom to embrace self-love, the freedom to be able to talk about and to share what is going on down there, right? In your vagina, right? The freedom to say the word. No, best friend. She's laughing at me, y'all. She's laughing at me. The freedom to say the word.
When they say, "What do you call it?" I'm like, I know. I say that one and that one and that one and that one. But what I did make sure of, that when I taught it to my kids, I made sure to teach them the technical term that is universal.
Well,
so
yes.
No miscommunication, ain't nobody done coaching, ain't nobody. We all know what it means when they say it.
Yes, when somebody's done something.
But all of those cute little names I said, because I can't, like they said, you can't be hollering vagina clean across the. Make sure you wipe your vagina. So you can't really do that. Wipe your cookie.
Like the surgical product that they were talking about in the show. Hey, it's like a surgical product. Bring me my vagina.
Right.
Like you can't say. But the thing is that
if you say that too loud, because they don't call it that, and they don't want you saying that.
Well, they have their own cute names, what they call it. And I will go on record, America, world, social media world, and say, like, my mom, she made me call it a Lucy. That's what she called it, a Lucy. And then it was interesting because I became a little confused with the song. Miss Lucy had a baby. She named him Tiny Tim. She put him in the bathtub to see if he could swim. I'm dating myself.
So you thought you had put your vagina in the...
Well, even though that now this is, biologically, medically, I am dating myself. You won't blame me. I'm dating myself. But now, medically, biologically, Miss Lucy does produce children, right? But I was very confused at how Miss Lucy could have a baby when Miss Lucy wasn't a person. See, I was really confused about that.
What? Well, see, I don't even remember having the birds and the bees conversation. Do you remember having?
My
mom just said, don't do it.
Yeah, that they will kill
do
you.
it.
Listen, you do it, you're gonna die. That's what my dad told me. You do it, you die. Like, you know. But no, but
That's
meant to as a scare tactic, you know.
But I'm saying that's frightening. My mom, let me tell you what I realized earlier today. I think that I got pregnant with Micaiah as like on a technicality.
Like an experiment?
No, it was a technicality because she said, "Don't get pregnant in my house."
So it wasn't her house.
Technicality.
We can laugh about that now. But back then we were scared.
Listen, I followed your one rule.
Right.
Don't get pregnant
in the house. Right. In
so,
my house. Right. And then, you know, my mom, you know, because I started my menstrual cycle when I was 9. So my mom was trying to explain the whole birds and bees, like, pregnancy thing, and she completely flipped out. She chickened out. She ran out of the room. My dad had to come in and explain it to me. He was a trooper. Like it was because she was really
so
nervous.
You was probably expecting the whole play, little puppet show or something. Am I?
And speaking of, yes. Speaking of a play and a puppet show. So when my mom, you know, she went to work and she was telling her coworkers, you know, I don't really know how to explain this to my 9-year-old. I do, and so they gave her this video, which I found that video on YouTube. It's called Who Am I? It's called Who Am I? Who Am I Now? And it was from the 70s. Like the stuff was from the 70s, but I liked it because it was a musical. It would have been like wah 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 wah. And it was so funny. It was so funny. My mom, and I was like, so whenever I would want to come over your house, you know, friend, I would want to bring that VHS. Yes, I'm dating myself. I want to bring that VHS over. And she said, no, you can't. You know, because her mom might not want her to be looking at that.
I didn't start till 11 or 12. So
okay. But it was great. Look it up, y'all. Who Am I Now? It was great. It was a musical. It was a musical about puberty. That's what they showed in health classes.
I bought a book.
You know.
And I still have the book.
Is it like graphic?
It's called the period book. It's in her book.
Wow.
I bought it.
Wow.
Probably about 15 years ago.
Was it written in
I'll show it to you.
Okay, I'll have to look that up. I mean the period book could probably is on that same wavelength as Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
But one thing about these new kids, they walk in on you and they already know that, what is that? He's dying! I'll never forget when they were little, they would say, oh my God, my mommy. I was like, you're gonna get it too. Just get out, mind your business. And so you eventually have to tell it because one of them thought I had cut myself down there.
Okay.
It was like, okay, you need a Band-Aid.
Or that you sat on something sharp.
No, it was that.
It was a cut.
Yeah,
it was a cut.
And I was like,
I
think I went with that for a minute. Yeah, because I was like, you ain't ready for this.
Well, you know, it's interesting about that too, because you know, I don't know. I feel like when we were coming of age and stuff, like when we were those ages, they had like stuff on TV available for that. And so I used to watch this other show called Ready or Not, and it was about, you know, I mean, there was episodes in there about periods and stuff like that. It was on Showtime. That was back in the day when Showtime was a part of.
I wish they showed little boys that, so little boys are able to understand. Yeah, because they are the first one who's like, and
but you know they take the boy. Usually they'll talk to the boys separately than the girls.
Well, I think it's something that, but I think everybody needs to know about that because. Without that, you can't reproduce, and it's a long. So, but then too, I think that they need to bring health class back because it's a lot health and economics, like home economics.
Home economics, yes.
Because there's some life skills that we missing by taking it out, and then they're taking more of the arts out. And the kids, I sat in class, I was like, oh my God.
You sat in a class?
A whole day.
The
only class that was fun was art class. The other classes, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I had my headphones on, I was blasting music really loud, and I still wanted to fall asleep. I was like, I cannot do that. I got ADD, ADHD, neurodivergent. You want me to sit down in this class, in this one seat for this whole time, and you just boring me? Girl. Call my mama now, because I'm finna get in trouble. I'm about to talk to her. I'm finna get in trouble, so you should just call my mama now.
Yeah, because it's not the way that it was. when we were
and they
when we were
are
in
just
school,
like, here,
it's
get
just
this
like,
iPad and learn.
and
It's
you
not
just looking
fun.
like,
It's not no back and forth. It's not.
well, because you know they gotta have all these controls and things on the iPad and stuff.
And so we doing
and
them
even
a
stuff
disservice.
that's not really, even like apps and stuff that are not really, inappropriate for children, they still flag it. So sometimes it'll be in.
They don't need that computer. They need pencil
know,
and paper. Because even with text, you had a time test, but you was able to go ahead and work the ones, and go back to the book. You can't do that on the computer.
That's
and
true.
Everybody can't finish at the same time. You might be faster than me. In math, I might need a little more time.
Well, in math, you need a little more. Everybody needs a little more time anyway.
The steps of to get to
the common core.
Maybe I can do it in my head, and they still drawing circles and O's, and I'm like, what? So we are doing them a disservice. And my mama taught me early some stuff about math, because at one point in time, she was taking classes at Chattanooga State. And so I used to be like, well, let me help you with your homework, because...
You told her you was going to help her with her homework.
Yeah. Come on, let's do it together. Let me see what you got. She always say, you love to read, because I used to read to you. While I was pregnant with your brother. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm smart. Let me get your homework.
Yes.
Let me do your college math. I don't care if I'm just 4. Let me say that. But I was really blown away today, and it surprised me.
It surprised you? Why,
it
friend?
did, because I've said...
What was the surprise?
I was interested.
The surprise was that you were interested?
I came into it was like, I'm just here to support. I'm just a ticket. I'm just here to support, because I've been to plays, I've seen plays, and I've been pulled in, I've been like, but I was surprised that I was invested in it, and it held my attention to where, baby, you're gonna give me the first few minutes and I'm gone. Yeah. But it just so happened that I sat next to one of the actresses, and we just communicated and we hit it off beforehand.
Which is that too, also plays a big part in like helping you as a person seeing it for the first time feel more comfortable, because there you were sitting by someone in the show, and then
I can't even see it because with the way
setting,
it was small and we were kind of close together,
and also too, I said this to the director, Kashawn Parks. I said this to her. Amazing job. Her and her husband Marvin. Marvin was the stage manager for the show as well, and also running the sound, which I want my soundtrack. And
there was the music
was very intentional, which Marvin picked out. Like the music was very intentional with the lyrics.
And that matters too. That matters too, because the song because you can't really have a situation or any kind of production without good sound. Yes. And lighting is big for me too. Lighting was big. I noticed how she would change the mood with the lighting. Yes. And that mattered.
And everything was intentional on that. And
it was. And even down to their costumes.
And the set. I told Kashawn, I said the set was very simple. I liked the table with the three principles.
It wasn't taken away.
No, and then the one chair that they had for the monologue pieces itself, I just really liked that set because it was raw, which is what it is intended to be, and it helped me focus on the acting.
You are speaking as a trained professional with all these degrees.
Don't even do that, friend. I'm just a regular girl.
But not just all of the degrees and stuff. You attend a lot of productions, like at least 12, 13 a month, and that's being generous. No, yes, it's so. I mean, you were running the play, and then you were looking at some, and then you was helping, and then you was marketing. So you've done a lot of things, and so for you to be able to appreciate this, and not just appreciate it, but also
I mean, I do appreciate just being able to sit out in the audience and enjoy a show. And I appreciate all the elements that are involved in the show. And that's why I talked about the set, because a lot of times, I'm a Broadway girl. I'm a musical person, right?
Over the top.
So I'm over the top, right? And a lot of times, Broadway musical shows, they have the big fancy set and the lights that get flicker and get you and all, and
And I'm
of course
not a
the
theater
music.
person. I'm not a theater person.
So for you to say that is important.
It is.
But
it is because I can do a play.
Mm-hmm.
There was no intermission, which was
exactly.
which normally you get an intermission, you get up, you stretch, you're able to kind of process and stuff. It was like they was hitting us back to back to back to back,
and
we didn't even notice
that it was exactly for you to not notice like a big gap or like a
it was
train
time.
of
I was like,
thought.
oh, when we gonna get up? And I didn't stand up. So it was that, but then it was like, okay, get back in it because you might miss something.
Yeah.
And see, normally I'm not like that. I'm like, okay, I can hear it and still be, but I was like, oh, let me take this.
Put it down. Put it down.
What? So
But the and going back to the set is like there was it didn't have what musical. It's not a musical first of all, but even if it was a play and there was like some plays have ginormous sets and things to distract you or whatnot, like you'd be like, oh, that was a really great set, and that's what people remember, right? But this forced me as an audience member to focus on the purity of the acting, the purity of the message. It's the message.
The simplicity.
Simplicity, yeah. It's the message, right? That I wanted and that you get when the set is simple like she had it. And which I thought which is Vagina Monologues is designed to be that way, but I thought that she executed that very well. And you were just able to just be in that moment with, it's like the actors all brought you into their particular situation, their moment, the message that they were trying to get to the audience.
Let me share a secret with you that nobody knows.
Uh-oh.
Years ago, I auditioned to be in a Vagina Monologues, and I didn't get it.
At Chat State?
No, it was at Broken Leaves, the same place. I'll tell you about it when it's over. But looking at them performing, I wouldn't have been able to give it. I would have given my all, and I would have given it justice. But this was an all black cast, and it was different. So I don't feel like I would have been able to give it the same as I would have then. And even then, I didn't appreciate it then because again, I'm not a theater person. I had just I was in the middle of doing my very first outside of school play.
Okay.
And it was hard because they were little, so I was trying to
balance
with rehearsal and the show days and stuff like that. So I really didn't put my all into that rehearsal because I was still into one, and I knew what it was costing me, and it was taxing.
Yeah.
And so I was disappointed when I didn't get it, and but I don't think it stopped me, but it just let me know that plays weren't for me to do, like
maybe not then. I'll put that out there. Maybe not then.
Well, then now.
Maybe not then.
Now you're right.
Yeah.
So I believe now is the time for us to act on it. While the creativity is flowing, the juices. She's fresh for one, and she could immediately start working on the other one. I think that the people are there, but we know the audience is there, and I would absolutely love and be honored. It's an honor for you and Kashan to bring the way she carried to life into fruition, and I trust you.
We're gonna do it.
I completely trust you.
To do it.
I just want you to tell me when to show up. That's all I want to like. This is the day. I don't want to see it before.
You don't want to be on the production.
I don't want to see it before. I want to watch it on the first day with everybody else.
Okay.
I trust you that much.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do it.
With Kashan and the actresses that I saw tonight, and the ones that you pull in, and I may see it on some of that. I may.
America, the world of social media, I think she should.
Probably, but I
as the writer, and I will say that because a lot of times I'm looking at Terry McMillan on the floor here.
This is where
I'm looking at Terry McMillan on the floor here, and you know, a lot of times writers get shut out of the creative process when it comes to turning it into a theatrical production or a film. And so that's why I would want you.
But the thing
there,
about it,
at least some of the
process. I definitely will poke in and poke out, but I want to see the finished product with everybody else, like the first look with everybody else.
Yeah.
And see it like that.
I think that would be fantastic because those of you who have not read The Weight She Carried, you need to get it. It's on Amazon. It is very much, and I've told you this, it's very much like Intricacies Gay for color girls.
Which I've never read.
You've never read. And that's the thing, and I tell you that all the time, is that you haven't read it, but yet the way that you structured the pieces of that book is similar and into Zoki.
And I only watched the movie one time. It only took one time for it to be like, this ain't the movie for you.
What, the For Color Girls?
The movie.
Well,
I know it's not the same. But it's just like.
It's like, different when it's live theater. It's a lot different. Yeah,
but it's like they a lot to intake and then
it is. It's like that. It's a lot.
But I really
a lot to digest.
When you first read it, you told me that I was like, that's an honor, and there's big shoes to fill, but it's also.
And did you believe me? Because I feel like you didn't believe me.
Well, you know, when somebody compares your work to something of like the statue of that, it's kind of hard to believe, especially when I feel like you're so supportive of my stuff.
Well, I am. I'm supportive, but I wouldn't tell you it was like into Zoki Gay.
I believe it. But you know, one thing is, I've had a lot of people ask me to, turn it into a play.
Yeah.
And off to that, and I didn't tell you this before, but I had a conversation with a guy last night. When the book first came out, his wife had a copy, and I didn't know he read it, and I just realized he read it when these thoughts came out. So back in 2017, 2018, he was like, "Hey man, why don't you write a book like this for men?" And I was like, "I can't." And he was like, "How come me?" I was like, "Cause I can't get in the mind of a man."
Mindset of to relate.
But since then, so many men have been telling me their stories, which I could just really regurgitate, but then I need to sit with it. But it didn't dawn on me that he actually read the book, because when I wrote the book, I only seen it written for Black women. But I tapped into a market of Black men that's interested in the book too, and that's something that I really I hold close, because if you're relatable to both sides and they can see both sides, and then not just size but colors, so gender, it goes across all lines, because I met with some beautiful teen high schoolers and I gave them the book. It's very,
so it has the ability to cross all generations, right?
It does.
Generations and colors, and that's the thing, is that because I know you're a Black woman, so, but even
they know
reading the book, it could be anybody. It's not, it's not like, one in there where it's the specific. Yeah, but the rest is like, because you chronicled the stories of 13 women.
I did.
So.
Or they did.
They did. They came to you, yes, because that's your process, right?
Yes,
but they came to you.
Yes. Which is what I was waiting on with the men. And so to me, I was waiting on them to come internally when the men have come externally.
Okay, yeah.
And so that's different.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah. It's different. Yeah. But I can see it done. I can see it as being kind of a sequel or a male version of it. Because because men are burdened, I think, with societal responsibilities. Like, society says the man has to be the provider, the man has to do this, the man has to do that, right? So they do what you said, they carry a lot of weight, but I think theirs can be a burden. at times.
It can, especially when you think about, I seen something that said, you don't know how hard it is to love a strong black man. And it's true because you have to worry about him from the moment he leaves. Like you have to pray and want him to come back in the door at the end of the night. So it's a lot that goes through it. So not only, and he's probably thinking, you know, if something happens to me, I'll leave my family uncovered. And stuff like that. So it is a lot.
It's a lot.
But I think I'm ready
to share that, to tell those
the stories of the men that have trusted me with him.
Yeah, I think it will be good.
I think that's where I go. But then, so there's like 6 books going on in here at one time, and it's just so much. So I'm gonna take spring break because the kids off. I'm gonna take spring break, and then I'm gonna pick up. And I can't say I'm gonna take it out because I can say right now I'm take it out, but then the way that so many things are flowing now, it could just it could write itself during spring break. So I don't really push it. I just allow the boost of creativity to come through, and I just try to be obedient.
And everybody has their process, you know. All artists out there, you know, creative types.
Well, let me
all
just
have
say, I appreciate the friendship that you have extended, the way you poured into my art, the way you support it, the way you encourage it, the way you challenge me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, I think it's a great thing because I'm able to say, hey, this is too much words. I need you to, and so I think that's where our friendship is kind of like founded from even, you know, childhood. That one of us have always been able to fill in the shoes of the other. So if it's 60 and it's 40 over here and it's 55, you know, so we've been able to balance that. And we haven't always been close. Like you were gone
for a time,
and I was mom, and so I was but then friendships that last, you know, can last and go the test of time. So thank you for not letting me give up on me.
No, friend, I'm not gonna let you give up on you. I appreciate it. and thank you though for teaching me that people's processes are their processes. Because sometimes, you know, I tend to drive a little bit too hard, and I tend to be like, okay, no, this is the way it's got to go, girl. We got to do this. It's got to go this way, cause that ain't making sense. This makes sense. Right. Yeah, but I do thank you for teaching me that, no, my process is this, and we learn and we flow together as a team. Yes, and also when I come up with these crazy ideas and I just bring them to you, you're able to put it on paper, and you have all of the things the things that's necessary, the paperwork, the NDAs, the script work, and we're able to. And we're able to move forward and really get it, you know, off the ground, and really just, you know, we work as a team. We work well as a team. We do. And, you know, I showed Fallon Clark, you know, founder of New Division Theater and Performing Arts Company. Keep that in mind. You'll hear more about that soon. I showed her the video that we did, the promo for The Weight She Carries. That you and I did together. Yes. And, you know, I explained to her, you know, about scripting and how we shot it at your house, and we had props and you provided all that. We did it together. We did. Yeah. And it's one that I can say that I was proud to be included in that process. I couldn't have did it without you. I couldn't have, because for one thing, I probably wouldn't have did. Like, I just threw it out there, and I probably wouldn't have. But you was like, come on, you said we was gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and then I'm like, oh. She's like, oh no, my mouth. She's like, we gotta do this now. Yeah. So I always be like, man, I was just saying something. You didn't mean. You didn't mean it. But and you know, I think I feel that way about you, feel that way about your work, because I feel that it needs to be out here in the universe. It needs to be out there.
I appreciate that.
And so I want to make sure that I'm here in any way that I can be, and a resource and provide resources and the tools that we need to do it together so that it can be put out there in the universe. What you have a wild imagination. It's got a wild imagination. Always have. And I appreciate that. I really, really, truly appreciate that. Because you help me tap into more creativity and bring things to life for me, and bring things that I said, oh, well, maybe that's not possible. Oh, well, yeah, it is. It is possible.
I think our friendship just works like that. It's always, it just balances it out. Because even when you uphill and I'm downhill.
What you mean up here, friend? No, friend.
And I'm like, come on, we ain't even.
What you mean I'm up here, friend? What that mean?
I just rear you on back down.
Oh, yeah.
We on another level. But I can't wait to see what else we're able to produce.
Me too.
Because I believe it's going to be amazing.
It is.
We're going to be able to leave the legacy that we started all those years ago when we allowed some older men to tell us what we could and could not do.
Oh.
So that's another story. So
that
we
is,
just that's another.
that
but I
is.
really appreciate you because I seen the thing for the Vagina Monologues. I'm like, I'm not going. I don't want to get out the bed. It's spring break. It was raining.
It was raining, and
it was cold.
It was cold. This was Saturday, right?
Yeah.
This was Saturday.
But all weekend, though.
All weekend, right? And because I saw the show on Saturday and decided to come back on Sunday, and you're right. It was raining, and I have a really bad habit of, sending you things, sending other people things that I think they would be interested in. But it's only because I'm interested in it.
Right.
And I don't know if you're interested, but I send it.
You do.
And
I just
I have to tell my
going.
work friend that too.
Going. I'm going. I always keep going. And they pop up and I'm like, I ain't going.
She's like, I'm not going.
But I really, I'm grateful that to have a friend that's in the arts that's able to say, I think you might like it and you might want to see this. And hey, are you going?
Are you interested? Are you going to this and this and this?
So even this is I thank you for that. So
this was good.
It was. I wish it was another weekend.
I know.
Because I would like for Makaya and Cam to see
to be able to see it.
Yeah. But then too, I will wonder because if you're at a point on your journey where you still kind of, it's gonna be triggering and it's gonna, because even now I gotta find a way. I gotta write out.
You gotta release.
Yeah.
You have to have the release, and that's a lot of shows now. Traditionally, Vagina Monologues doesn't do this, but a lot of shows that do have triggering, effects or could have triggering effects, they will have like a trained counselor or someone on hand to kind of deal with those feelings.
But you do know I would have walked right past the trained person,
right? Right.
I would have walked right on past, so
right.
Down to that car, y'all don't need anything. But
right.
I want to see more of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we mapped out years ago.
Yeah.
And we just put down. So
it needs to be. These kinds of shows need to be done. Important things that whether it's about women
in the audience either, was it?
No, and I met a man in the audience, and afterwards, and I said, "You're a brave soul. You're a brave soul."
Right, because they were going around all kind of.
You're a brave soul for coming to Vagina Monologues, but he actually said he'd been wanting to see it for a long time and just never had the opportunity.
I did too. I wanted to see it for a while too, and I was like, I guess I'll go now. I ain't doing anything. I'm going. discuss maybe next week.
Yes, let's do that.
Well,
Let's
we'll
do
be
it.
around next
Yeah.
week with something else.
With something different.
All right.
We're
Well,
gonna
thank
talk
you,
about
ma'am.
it. Yes, friend. Yes. Oh, this is